If today is my last day, right? Like I know I got 24 hours left, right? What am I gonna do with this time?
You probably go out for a run. Be like, I hate life. I just keep running. Like, so tired.
That's how you die.
Would you choose life imprisonment or the death penalty? This is your daily catch-up. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the Daily Catch-Up podcast, do remember to drop us a sub and hit the notification button. So just the other day, there was an article that went out that a man has failed in his appeal to not be hanged, essentially. So he's been sentenced, the death sentence essentially, for transporting 1 kg of cannabis into Singapore. Basically at the trial, right, his defense was that he didn't know that the cannabis was in the car. He knew he had a package, he didn't know what was inside.
Well, I feel like I've heard this story before, yeah.
There are similar stories of similar nature. So the strange thing is that when he was first, like his statement was first taken when he was arrested, right? He actually said he knew that was inside. Then 5 days later, he retracted his statement and said that, hey, sorry, my mind went blank. I didn't know what I was saying. I was high before that. So I smoked a stick of marijuana when I was outside of Singapore. And then when I came back and I got arrested, I didn't know what I was saying.
Right.
So then after all these inconsistencies, right, he's basically now saying that his initial statement was because he was coerced by the officer to say that he knew what he was transporting.
Singapore got such thing one, meh?
According to him lah. So this was his quote, right? He said, the officer told him, if you refuse to admit this, I will throw you and your father to be hanged. The father was driving the car.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So then eventually the court decided to not approve his appeal because there's too many inconsistencies. When he retracted the statement 5 days later to say that he was actually high, that's when he should have said that he was coerced lah. Why are you only saying it now? And it feels a bit desperate. I mean, like you said, there was also another case like last year or so, or 2 years ago, where someone got caught bringing in drugs. They faced the death penalty, and then they said that actually I don't know what was inside. I was just helping a friend, or I borrowed a friend's car, and then it happened to be inside lah. Which goes to show that if that story was really true, right? Like the death penalty, to face death for something that you didn't know, again feels so weirdly balanced.
If it's true lah, I would believe that if they cannot verify, or like you can prove that you really didn't know, but even though you really smuggled it, I feel like you won't get lah.
Wait, so now he's going to get hanged?
Yeah, he is.
Is it up to you to prove it, or is it up to the justice system to figure out what is the truth?
I think because the rule of law is quite straightforward, right? I don't know the exact phrase, but it's that you will be hanged if you traffic drugs. And the only way to know whether you traffic drugs is that it's in your possession as you enter the country. So then whether or not it's your own responsibility to check what you bring into the country lah. Do you guys think it's a fair punishment to still exist?
Well, I've actually been in a few serious conversations with my friends that got heated regarding the death sentence.
Okay.
So I'm actually for it.
Right.
I think that I agree that it is a great deterrence. And I think even Shanmugam quoted research.
Minister
Shanmugam.
Shani to me.
Shan.
I think just within the year, near the year end of 2020, he quoted research saying that the death sentence is proving to deter people in Singapore specifically. Yeah. And I think I agree with that lah. And to me, it also kind of feels like if there's someone who, for example, is a killer, right? Killed 2 people or whatever, why would I let him, on my taxpayers' money, live out his life in prison?
I think quite a lot of the arguments against. So I think I'm for or against it depending on the situation, right? I think quite a lot of the arguments against, especially when it comes to drugs, for example, is that there are still people that are doing it anyway. So clearly, it's not a good deterrent. The grand scheme of things in terms of statistics, yes, but there are still instances like this where someone is forced to do it. And according to his first statement, if it's true or not, he said that he was desperate for money and so he had to do it. And so it comes down to...
But a lot of people are desperate for money, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it comes down to a societal problem, right? Like if you're just going to say, hey, we're going to kill you, whether you bring in drugs and then I need money, I'm going to take the risk. Maybe it's a bigger problem that we need to kind of fix regards to poverty and shit.
Like what Father Daren say.
Or Donovan.
Yeah. So I was looking up at statistics on deaths in Singapore, right? Hanging lah. Apparently, right, we have over 500, almost 500 hangings already.
Ever lah, right?
Actually, the
Yeah,
hangman,
one
like our hangman, right, claims to have hung over 850 people. So I
Aiyo.
think it's more than that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow,
But the
it's scary.
official, I'm not sure what the official
Shit, yeah.
figures are. I'm not sure what the official figures are.
Damn, 800. Okay, but from what I saw, right, like over the last like maybe 20 or 30 years or whatever, it's like almost 500 lah, around there lah.
Why is that number
But-
impactful to you?
Because, right, apparently based on the reports, if you compare it to your total population size, right, we are one of the highest rates of hanging. Yeah.
Because we are one of the only few countries that have death sentence, right? To
Right.
begin with.
But still, that's quite a scary number.
Apparently, more than 400 people have been hanged since 1991.
Since 1991.
With the highest number of executions in a year being 1994, where there were 76 lah.
Wow.
This is as
Damn.
of the statistics that's available.
But the one that I was referencing, which is about 491, is updated to 2019.
Right.
Yeah.
So between the years of 2014 and 2016, 2 to 4 persons were hanged in those
Okay.
3 years.
But I think one of the more compelling arguments that I've seen was that because most of the arguments I've seen is that like, oh, it's immoral. Like, what if you hang the wrong person? Maybe like, should we be killing someone when in punishment for them to kill from how to phrase? It's like they kill someone and then I say, okay, I kill you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is that morally right and all that? So then I saw this argument about how people talked about the law is to keep people in line morally. And then so is it right for the law to then be
Immoral in nature.
Yeah,
right?
so that was one that stood out to me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like, how does one have the power to terminate the life of another?
so then the argument there is that because neither did you.
No, so I'm curious, like, because the alternative to a death sentence is
Life
Life
imprisonment
imprisonment,
without
right?
parole.
yeah. Which do you
Just to be clear, they
Full name,
cannot come
Are
out.
we in
right?
trouble?
I think at the end of the day, again, it goes back down to the crime, right? I feel like if it's murder or possessive of like lethal weapons, I agree that a very maximum penalty should be applied to them. And I think if someone was murdered, right, and I was a victim, I was the family of the victim, I would want there to be the death sentence. Like, it feels like balance. But to me, like with drugs, right, I mean, maybe it's my own personal opinion on drugs. Again, I won't share what
I
it
thought
is.
you were gonna say use. I was so confused.
I won't share what my personal stance on drugs is.
But we know.
It doesn't feel
Like
proportionate, I think is the word I'm saying.
But I think it's not about whether you use, it's whether you're peddling, right?
Yeah, it's whether you're trafficking and selling and then distributing to people and then bringing their livelihoods down because then they get super addicted to it, right? I feel like at the end of the day, the criminal justice system is there to punish, deter, but also to rehabilitate. And if certain behaviors can be rehabilitated, right, we should always gun for that lah. Because at the end of the day, we should preserve life as much as possible and change the people who can be changed. I feel like if you're a murderer and you're a serial killer, you can't be changed, you can't be rehab. If you killed someone out of accident or because of moment of rage, I think you can rehab someone. I think that's a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
But if it's someone who's doing something out of economical needs, right, I think you can rehab that person, ma.
So the issue is that when I was researching also, like a lot of the crimes that get the death sentence, right, stem from robbery, which ends up in a form of murder or something lah, or it's like drugs,
Yeah.
right? And these, for the most part, like what you're trying to talk about, right, is a lot of these people are probably desperate for money or something, and
Is
it's
that
because they're
statistical though?
I don't know lah,
You said
but
testicle.
it sounds like, but it feels
You
like
are a testicle.
it feels like there's quite a strong motivation, ma. Because if you have other options, like
Yeah. I feel like if I'm desperate, I need to feed my family, I'll do anything.
yeah. So then, are we focusing on the right issues to fix, or is this something that we both right? You know?
I think we really cannot comment on whether it's fair or not. Because it's in the rule book already. We tell you don't do, you do, we will do this.
Yeah.
Like, so, okay, it's what is. You still want to do, you want to risk it, you get caught, then you do this.
No, I think you're right in that we cannot comment on cases that already happened because everyone should have been aware of the consequences when they did it.
Yes.
But I think in general,
Wait, so you are not for the death sentence?
I am for it for certain circumstances. Lah.
Like
But for
murder
the most
lah.
part, no lah.
I saw a documentary on it once on what, like, it's not say a bad way to make money, or look like a frowned upon way to look at money, but it's more of how drugs can degenerate an entire generation of a country, of society. Yeah, and then they show how because of drugs, able-bodied people don't go out work, they don't seek livelihood, they become abusive, and then this drags on for generations because I mean bad upbringing can really drag on for generations. and then future generations start their life off carrying the previous generation's debt and burden as well, and scars lah. So, us as a country that's trying to protect our moral compass, right, and to make sure that we, at least make an attempt to defeat inequality, right, we have to stop drugs from coming to Singapore no matter what.
Right.
Yeah, so if that is the stand and it's no matter what, then the no matter what is, if you do, I'll kill you.
Should be the maximum lah. I think an interesting case study is like when they compare to all the other countries around Southeast Asia. I think they call it the Golden Triangle or like whatever lah.
Of drugs, right?
Of drugs, yeah. So it's like Indonesia, Thailand, and
Circle,
It's like Bermuda Triangle,
circle,
but
yeah.
drugs.
yeah, because like
It's like the Pacific Ring of Fire, but drugs.
it could really be a square if you really wanted it. But yeah, so like I think Southeast Asia as a whole, outside of Singapore, has often been riddled by drugs, whether or not you know them or not. There's kingpins that gain a lot of power because of their ability to control the drug supply.
Right.
And so Singapore has never been involved in that because they've been super duper strict about it.
Also, if we look at rehabilitation, would it, hypothetically, I'm not saying life don't matter, don't kill me, hypothetically,
Ironically.
right, let's say the amount of people that get hanged in Singapore for drug trafficking, more than half are not Singaporeans,
Hypothetically.
which I would guess so. I don't have the stats, but I would guess more than half will not be Singaporeans. Would it make sense then to put them in prison for 20 years and taxpayer to rehabilitate them?
Well, but is it about money though? Can you put a number to a life?
Sorry, on the point of money, so if I'm not wrong, right, in the US, it actually costs more to go through a death penalty trial than a life imprisonment trial. $2 million versus 500K.
I'm actually looking at this one and it's even more interesting. So in like, this is amnesty.
Hey, why you one-up me like that?
Sorry.
Even more interesting.
No, because I knew you were going to bring it out, right? Then I just wanted to like check your numbers, see you correct or not. But it's actually even more drastic.
So I'm wrong?
So you're
no,
wrong.
you're more correct.
Oh.
So like in 2008, right, they did a study in California, right? That current system at that time cost 137 million per year, right? If they didn't have the death penalty, it would only be 11.5 million to uphold the criminal justice system. 137 million compared to 11.5 million.
So it's 1, 2...
It's 10 times less if they didn't have the death penalty.
You think these numbers are real though?
Yeah, like it's Amnesty International, like, it's quite biased also.
They're probably spending a lot of money fighting Amnesty International.
No, the reason why I didn't want to bring it over to US also when you were talking about drugs as well, right? It's because like I feel like there's so much corruption in the system, right?
It's a different world.
Like conspiracy theories, even though proven
Like
or
their
whatever.
prisons are privatized.
No, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a money making business, prisons. So they don't actually want you to. They want to be able to accommodate more prisoners.
That's why sometimes welfare is quite shit because they're saving costs.
Yeah.
So you're bringing up about the cost of the trials.
Oh no, I just wanted to say, as in, on the note of like we are wasting taxpayers' money.
Right.
Arguably, death penalty might be wasting more money lah. But
In
this
the
is in
States
US.
lah,
I don't
yeah.
know whether it's in Singapore. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Interestingly though, because you mentioned that hypothetically half of these people are non-Singaporeans, right? The person in the article is a Singaporean.
Right. Can you get the actual statistics? Why are you going to find something to fight me for?
Purposely, just now after.
No lah,
Then we find a statistic.
So in 2012, right, certain drug offences have been like kind of reduced to life imprisonment, such as like if the trafficker only played the role of the courier and was not like the mastermind, he was just a transporter, and either cooperated with the CNB in a significant way that helped to disrupt the activities
drug ring.
of the
Right.
drug ring lah. They will still kena, but they will kena like life imprisonment instead.
So I think it's very easy to say that, okay, this is the rule, and then if you break the rule,
You
gonna
should
die.
get- yeah.
You know, then we say the rule already lah, then so like, yeah, okay. I mean, most of us kind of can get behind that until it's yourself or your family member or your closest friend. Like, I feel like when that happens, then you start looking at it and my son is more than the guy that trafficked. Yes, he trafficked 1 kg of whatever, right? But my son is more than that. My son is also a good friend. He's also a loving son. He's also a good student. He also has potential for a bright future. He made one mistake to go and try and earn some quick cash so that he can just have a better year-end holiday. Yeah, but instead now he needs to die. Yeah, I feel like when it's your family member that becomes super apparent and like there's nothing anybody can say that can take that away from them, you know?
I think like what I mentioned earlier on also, the biggest argument against death penalty for me is the morality of it lah. So when laws are in place to keep morals, but yet this punishment is, so then should the death penalty even exist because it is immoral. Like taking
In
a
the
life,
nature of-
just in the nature of taking a life, right? That's immoral.
So then the only alternative is to have a life imprisonment lah. No death only lah.
Yeah, no death.
So is it moral to hold somebody captive?
Wow.
I was thinking about that also.
No, so what do you all think would be an alternative deterrent if it's not life imprisonment and a death penalty to the person convicted?
You all saw this film about, I mean, it's the movie, it's fake, where this scientist basically created a version whereby if you can spend 10 years, 20 years in prison, right, they just hook you up to a machine like the Matrix and you spend 20 years in a box.
Oh, this is the Black Mirror,
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking.
But it's actually
White Christmas, is it? Is it White Christmas?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, but you wake up, it's only been like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get on your life, you never waste your whole life.
Yeah.
But you feel the entirety of the punishment. Is
Jobs.
that something y'all can get behind with?
Okay.
Wow, damn scary, yeah.
No, but what's the argument against that? Like, I see no reason why people don't prefer this. Because you come out, you get to live your life, what?
Yeah, but mentally
But you're broken lah.
Yeah. Like so it's not rehabilitation, it's literally torture.
Right.
Because you're put in an empty room, right? There's nothing, there's no stimulant.
Yeah.
People go crazy if you're isolated, ma.
So then is the solution that like in this mental prison that I'm going through is like as though I'm going through normal prison where there are rehabilitative services in place.
So we need what, AI, NPC or...
No, you can just code for one time then done one.
Yeah, if that was the case, then yeah lah. But that's damn complicated.
Yeah. I mean, let's say you got one NPC lah, they talk to NPC, they give you like NPC replies.
yeah, but if your NPC hang, right, nobody's gonna know, nobody's gonna fix it. Because within that 2 seconds, how can they know there's an error?
Would you rather have no NPC or a hang NPC? I'd rather have a hang NPC. You can slap the guy.
Where do you draw the balance? Because at the end of the day, like if you have Amnesty International saying that we need to be humane towards criminals no matter what because they're human still, but then you also need to deter crime, right? Like where do you draw a balance? Because like if whatever you just said is scary, but you know that it only lasts for actually 2 seconds, would it actually be
Right.
enough of a deterrent for me if I'm
Right.
really desperate to do something?
Right.
Maybe not. Or if you say like I will go
I feel like when that happens, right, it won't be like 2 year, 3 year, 10 year sentence. They will jack you for 30, 50 years, good one. You will get old, you die of old age, then you come back.
or like you know what's worse actually? If you have to go through 20 years of just falling. Just falling. I think I'll be
Try that.
I think I'll be scared of that. Or like experience you getting killed 20 times. I'll be
Yeah.
quite scared of
Oh,
that.
that was another episode of the
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Mirror. So you can go electrocute the fella.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
With
just
a live
like-
audience.
It's
Yeah,
just a
remember.
playback of the worst scenarios that could happen to your life. Like,
No, but you see, right, again, right, this is all torture.
yeah.
Like we are going to the worst aspects of humanity for what?
But again, it's to deter crime lah. So at the end of the day, like you prevent someone from murdering someone. Like if it's just about life imprisonment, is that big enough?
So you see, right, then that's why I asked the question earlier. Is life imprisonment and death the only options? Like what if, right, if you never commit any crime, you never kena any shit for 50 years of your life, right? I reward you.
Or like
Then suddenly it's an
incentivize
incentive
instead of,
of
and not
punishment.
the other way around. Yeah.
but it's more expensive to incentivize.
Is it
than
really
to-
when you look at the kind of money that's going to prisons? If
But
we
how
didn't
much
have
money do you
prisons,
think you're going to incentivize me for?
Yeah. Plus,
For my
1,000?
whole
it doesn't
life,
have to
eh?
be money though. It could be a key to enter this gate into
Heaven.
a dream place. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
if
you're going
the-
to live the rest of your life. You're going to join all the greatest people.
These are all movie plots, or this is a good place.
Oh, is it? Oh, so they were not dead?
No, they did lah.
Oh. Okay, but yeah, you
It's
know
like
what I mean?
loss,
Like why do we only use punishment? Like why not incentivize?
But that's trophy culture, right? Participation trophy.
Wait, what's
Now we need to reward you for being a decent human being.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Versus the
Punishment-
other way around where now there's so many moral issues around it.
the difference is that punishment affects everyone and everyone can't do something because everyone will then get the punishment, right? Whereas incentives, right, it's optional. It feels like, okay, actually if I don't want incentive, I don't have to follow it and I can just do whatever I want. That seems a lot more dangerous because there's no consequence for that person except he didn't get the incentive.
Right.
you think
Right.
that if there were no like prisons and it was the incentive system instead, right, there will be no crimes.
No lah.
No lah.
I mean, I robbed the
confirm
bank
have lah.
right? There's no way.
Yeah.
So is it
Robbing
like
the bank is much
Yeah,
it like
so
the
there needs to
purge?
be a punishment. Yeah, also like the purge. Like if there are no laws on that, right, people will go and do whatever the heck they want, they don't care.
Because they just don't get the incentive.
At some point when we reach the metaverse and you commit a crime, they'll just delete your ass.
They zero out like Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So I mean, when John Paul asked the question, I was like, first thing is like, would zero out be a thing? But zero out just basically means you lose all your possession, you lose all your money. Wouldn't that cause more crime actually? So then I didn't
Your
answer that.
internal monologue.
But
Yeah.
once again, that's the cycle of bringing drugs in.
Yup.
But it happens to other people, not you. You got rich though.
So
At
the
one
other
time,
thing that I was reading in terms of like the arguments for these punishments, right? The practical arguments, right? One of them was talking about how if they were to determine like what kind of specific crimes are deserve the death sentence, it always ends up becoming discriminatory in some way because there's bias, and then
Example?
it affects like the poorer,
Your social
marginalized
class.
groups.
Yeah.
Specific to different races and whatnot. Then like just now when you were talking about how like they are trying to make it a bit more specific, right? Like even though you're involved in drugs, doesn't necessarily mean you get the punishment, right? Then what happens then? Because if we're talking about the mentality that we have now, then I'm going to do it, but just not the main person can already, you know? It doesn't make sense, right?
Wait, but everybody can't not be the main person though.
Yeah lah, then I let other people be lor. But then now I'm that much closer to I can get involved, but I won't kena the most rabak.
But you will still kena life imprisonment.
Whatever lah, something else, but a lighter sentence.
Another argument that I've heard against the death penalty is that there are a lot of innocent men that might end up getting killed.
Yeah.
So, which I think, okay, like what you mentioned, that is more the case in overseas countries where they maybe are more corrupted
Oh no.
legal systems.
What I meant when I say that the systems are corrupt is that like the whole conspiracy behind how the US government is the one that is trying to facilitate for drugs to come into America.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So if they're already working together with drug cartels and they're controlling this, then they are the ones that are getting people involved in this, getting arrested, and then ending up on death row lah.
Wow.
And there's also some racial politics in there also. Like
Yeah,
how some people
exactly.
get
Right,
get
okay, so it's a
arrested.
whole thing.
Yeah. That's why very hard to get
It's a
into
little
that
bit
one, lah.
more far-fetched.
But we
I would
bring
like
it
to
back to
make. I
Singapore.
would like to make a correction.
Okay.
36% are foreigners. But this is on Wikipedia.
Okay, but it's quite close to that.
Still sticking to your theories. You still
Were there years in particular? Time frame?
93 to 2003.
Right.
Which is the bigger deterrent?
The death sentence.
Even if you get a death sentence, right, you still have to spend a lot of time in jail until it's your turn.
Yeah,
If I'm
on
not
death
wrong.
row. And the whole psychology of being on death row is like horrible. Like, you don't know when you're gonna die.
So actually, if you were sentenced, given the death penalty, wouldn't you just like kill yourself?
In
You know what's gonna
advance.
happen,
But
then
you're already in prison though.
I would.
at that
I
point.
think.
No, but then you don't have to
Give me
live.
sufficient tools, I'll probably kill myself like on my own terms.
You know you're gonna die already. Then like you don't want to live out that life in prison where you're waiting for the day. You don't know when the date is. Just take it into your own hands.
So the current ranking is death sentence is the worst, followed by life imprisonment, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard of stories
Not for me. I would like to think I'd rather.
the other way around.
Yeah.
No, okay. So I'm going from the approach where if you're trying to get out of it or lighten your sentence.
Right.
So I've heard of stories where people like they kena death sentence, right? Then they go crazy. So they play with shit and all this kind of thing, and they try to like really just get a mental like
With actual shit.
yeah lah.
So they can move to an asylum instead
Correct.
of yeah.
Then it actually they will then be re-evaluated and their sentences can be changed to get off the death
Reduce
Right.
lah.
Yeah. So if that was the case and the order is death sentence then life imprisonment, right? Then wouldn't it be easier to get life imprisonment then work your way out of that? Reduce the sentence from there.
Yeah.
Versus you death sentence then you reduce his life then you sin. Now I need to do something even more crazy.
Like what surprised me was that Singapore prisons don't have bed. I
Huh,
don't know.
really?
Is this surprising to you?
Huh?
They have a straw mat.
Oh, now still
Oh
Yeah.
I
man.
thought it was an old thing. I thought now
No.
got beds there.
I verified with a source.
Oh.
Can't say.
Shit.
Yeah, but yeah, that was, as in, what is very good about Singapore prison system is that they spend a lot of money in the rehabilitating part. But I think they're very intentional on that. Your stay is not supposed to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, how you change. You still must fear this place. You cannot come back. Like I've heard, those old timer gangsters that they don't mind spending 2-3 years in prison one, because especially like debt collectors, all that stuff, right? They do to beat someone up, then you go for assault. It's like a couple year thing lah. Not saying it's a small deal, but they don't mind that. They don't want to get caned. They say the cane is very, 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 very jialat. So I think the Singapore prison is actually very intentional in that you're not supposed to enjoy your stay here. They still sleep on straw mat, which was astounding to me.
Yeah, because when you watch I think there's a Netflix show like World's like Toughest Prisons or whatever. right?
They got bed.
Some of the prisons are comfortable, yeah. Like your food is taken care of, not bad. You got a lot of room. You can go and meet your friends, that kind.
You also see how they got so many knives and shit under their bed.
Yeah.
They got money, you can send them, then they can go to the shop and
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
buy
odd to
food.
me.
They all got burner phones.
It's like it doesn't feel like that bad of a deterrent. You just don't get to see your family, which may not be a bad thing if you hate your family.
Because I mean, their culture is I move out at 18, what?
yeah.
Yeah, so my mom can just sidestep this whole thing. I never see her in 2 years. I can call her, I can make calls, seemingly liberally making calls. Just, I'll be back next year lah.
Wait, but that fits into his conspiracy theory
Of what?
of that they wanted people in the prison system to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, that has been found out many times already.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many American movies that's based on real life on how they don't.
No, as in,
let
so
people
why
out, so-
prison is nice in America and has all this welfare? It fits into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think because they are also the champion of freedom of speech, right? So then they have to let amnesty run its course. I feel like that's super expensive process to fight amnesty. Then amnesty run on volunteers, like jokes on the legal system.
In some states, some very conservative states still have the death penalty.
I also found out that I think if I'm not wrong, it's Singapore. I read this online. Somebody was hanged, and he survived the hanging, and because of that, he was released.
Yeah.
But after that, right, they changed the rule, so it's hang until death.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they saw the fella struggling for minutes.
I don't know if it's an urban legend because I've heard the exact same story in Malaysia also.
Oh shit.
Wait, how does he even get out of the noose though?
No. So
They cut him down because they don't. He just struggles there for minutes. So, but you don't die from suffocation.
Yep.
Oh.
They snaps your.
They calculate the length for every different person. They calculate the length of rope,
Based
and
on
then
your
they
weight,
calculate
your
your weight. Then, at point of impact, right, it's supposed to snap your neck.
Yeah.
that little slack of the rope, right, when it's straightened, is supposed to break your neck. Yeah.
So by right, you don't feel the suffocation and the pain.
No, I'm also wondering why hanging is the option. Like you have getting. I don't know if shooting is one,
Right.
or what are the other options?
Electric
Or,
chair.
electric chair, or like some kind of like injected poison.
Or lethal
whatever.
injection.
Yeah.
I have a theory. Because you will put the noose around your own head, ma. I would guess for some extent. So then no one's responsible for your death.
It's a symbol. It's a symbol that you are the one that.
Really, man?
Maybe they,
yourself do, man?
they open the trap door.
No lah. But
Maybe not, I don't know.
Oh.
You know, it's like as opposed to you get some guy that always will have blood on his hands, right?
it's not like someone killed you.
He's just preparing everything. He's not his hand strangling you, but
Yeah.
he opens a trap door.
Because at the end of the day, it was your crime.
Wait, but I imagine if according to that, your neck snaps straight away, that means that hanging would probably be the most humane way to kill. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you watch the Bu Zhongfeng, sorry, I'm butchering his name, but like if you watch Apprentice,
You're
right? Butchering his name. Like if you watch the Apprentice, and I'm sure he wrote it out of like research, right, and things like that. So like the hangman did mention that it's like he has to do it very ethically, and so he needs to measure properly because if the person's neck doesn't snap properly,
You will feel pain for a few seconds, and they're trying to optimize against that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if they by good measure just give more rope so you can get a bigger snap, right? They don't want to decapitate you because they're also thinking about how your family will want to see your body.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's actually
they
very
do it in a
humane.
way where your head remains to your body, but it snaps immediately.
Yeah, so there are times when the family is actually too ashamed to go and collect the body. So in those situations, right, I think it's some religious personnel or something that will end up having to take the body away.
And do the funeral. Is it?
But yeah, you were saying there are multiple ways: electric chair, hanging.
Oh wait, something interesting to add.
Firing
So
squad.
I read about what the
What the?
I read about what the hangman, like his final line is to the people that he's hanging.
In Singapore.
Ooh.
Yeah, in
what's
Singapore. So he actually says, I'm going
Wait,
to send
can
you.
you guess?
Yeah,
Okay. Shit.
You say?
I'm going to send you to.
Home
I'll send you home.
to your maker. Oh, that's a bit crude.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
send
send
you
you to your God, to your family,
Your special place.
your ancestors.
Close to a better place. I'm going to send you to a better place.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I got chills from there.
Like it's such a great last line to hear in a sense. Like I think if it were me, it would be somewhat
Yeah, he's
comforting
kind of
to hear.
assuring you that you don't have to deal with this anymore. Tomorrow
Yeah.
you're gonna wake
Why are-
up in heaven.
Why are we being so nice to the people who are committing all the worst crimes?
Wait, I thought you're against death sentence.
Yeah, I'm against death sentence because I think that they should suffer.
Oh!
Oh,
Wow!
Yeah, like death
not
is the
I
easy
knew
way
it,
out.
I knew it. There has to be a this death sentence. I cannot be. This guy
That was a twist.
pro death for no reason.
No, so there are two perks to this.
like if somebody in this office die, I'll just like do wise, yeah.
He was saving this twist, yeah.
No, so there are
Wow.
two benefits to life sentence versus death, right? One is that if halfway through, right, this person really innocent, right, and way later then they find out, at least he can still walk and live a bit more of his life outside, right? But if they're guilty, you suffer for as long as possible. Like
But-
if death is the easy way out, to me. Yeah.
but if prison is okay, maybe Singapore is not. But if prison is so called like comfortable, right? Then why should, for
No,
example,
as
my
we
son
established,
who
it's not,
died, my son who died, why should he? My son who didn't get to live, why should the murderer get to live?
no, life is not necessarily better than death, ma.
Wow.
right? If I were to
wait.
quote the Squid Games episode 2 titled Hell.
It's gonna be
pop
outdated
culture.
again.
I don't like Squid Game, man. Anyway, but
No, so the second episode was titled Hell, right? Spoiler alert, because all the participants who kena pushed into the game from episode 1, they were actually released and set free. But as when they were living their lives in the real world, right, they realized that their lives were shit and it's actually hell. So then they decide to go back and then play the game. Yeah. And in this situation, life for a person in prison for eternity, I guess, for the rest of your life is
Worse.
yeah lah. And prison is not like butterflies and good food. Yeah, it's shit food. I also hear that got like shit go on in prisons in Singapore also lah. Also, okay, interesting thing. For food.
Oh, sorry.
For food.
Food, yeah. Food.
Last meal.
Oh, like last meal.
Singaporeans love
I
to talk
thought you
about
said really want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, two things about food, right? So the first one is that prisoners on death row, from what I've heard, their containers for their food is always sealed one, because they don't want to like
poison.
they don't want poison and get
right.
out. Then the other thing about food is that, you know, the Last Supper, right? Like you see like some BuzzFeed articles where they show like this is what the last meal look like in don't know what kind of countries. They got lobster, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I found out that in Singapore, the Last Supper, you can choose what you want, but there's a budget.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, lah. But I would assume it's quite high lah.
It's $20 only.
Yeah, which I would guess is a lot higher than their normal daily budget lah, which is probably like $2 budget.
Yeah, but your last meal internationally, I've seen that you can really order almost anything.
So
you want.
I also read this, and in the States, right, there was a period whereby there was no like
Last Supper.
no budget.
Oh, okay.
And so people would pick like rib eyes and lobsters and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then they could choose where they want it from.
Right.
Yeah, like they want from their childhood. And so
Wolfgang
the budget start running up like crazy because there is also travel expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and decided to cap it.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine America because there's just so many of these cases, right? But in Singapore, there's like only a handful every year. Like up the budget, yeah.
No, I guess you can you donate to it? Eh?
Legit, what will your order do? What do you think? Your
Initially,
last
I
meal
had my go-to order lah, which is this Lorry's diamond cut prime rib.
Okay.
Oh my god, I've not had
The
that
best
diamond
meal.
cut.
It's the best meal I've ever had in my life.
How much is it? How much is it?
It's like $108.
Wow, bro, you quite far off the budget. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
so
if your birthday got half price.
yes, that's true. So make sure I get
You still want to eat though at that point of time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I
So
feel like
you
I'm
got
done
appetite,
already.
meh?
If my family is still around, I would hope that they cook something for me. So it's a taste of my family.
yeah, that's quite nice.
True.
But other than that, I don't care what you go in diary.
Yeah.
There was actually a guy who, in Singapore, if I'm not wrong, asked for dirt.
They can
Because
try
you used to
himself.
eat it as a kid.
No, he wanted to conduct some ritual, I think.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
That's quite dark.
Yeah, then after that they weren't sure because dirt is not on
Not
on
the
food,
menu.
right? Yeah, not on the menu. Yeah, but I think in the end they let him have it.
Wow, I might attempt to consume. I might order a lot of seafood because I'm allergic, and then I try to
Get a reaction.
yeah, because I'm enjoying myself. I like seafood, ma.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. Then I settle.
No, then they send you to the medical room. Then you have another 3 more days of waiting for your turn.
Then he get
Then I
many
get
meals.
another last
many
supper.
meals.
What the heck, yeah?
If I'm not wrong, I think overseas you can also get to choose like a movie or what to watch while eating.
For
Oh, what movie
Right.
would you choose?
So yeah, but I'm not
Shawshank. No.
Wow.
Oh no,
Okay,
the
what?
Green Mile.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. Get into the mood, man.
So then I wonder,
Very distasteful.
Like
why if
last
someone
meal.
pick like Hobbit, like the entire trilogy, then their last meal is 9 hours.
Yeah, you should pick the Irishman. You can only pick one. You cannot pick trilogy. You pick the Irishman.
Then it's not the Hobbit lah. It's the Lord of the Rings director's cut lah. That's 12. What?
4 hours. Oh yeah. 4 hours each.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Let me see.
Wait, what would your last meal be? Oh, family
My
meal lah.
family.
What? Okay, but because you're distracted, right, by the whole fact that you are gonna get hanged. But what if it was your deathbed? You're like in hospital. You know that you have like 3 days left.
So you're just asking my favorite food lah right now.
Yeah. I mean, like
Why you gotta make me die, dude?
what lengths
I'll
would
tell
you
you.
what lengths would you make your family go through to get you your favorite food?
I have a few. I always tell my family if I hospitalized, right, and no dietary restrictions, buy me 4 fingers.
Huh?
I feel like not that troublesome, not that expensive.
4 fingers.
Yet like
Not sponsored.
I also really like Four Fingers.
I really like 4 fingers.
No, but as your last
Do you
meal
really
and your
eat for
deathbed.
No, but just my hospital food.
Your hospital food.
Yeah.
What's your actually yeah? What's your hospital food?
Do y'all tell shit like do y'all like eat this and tell your family? If next time hospitalized, you'll just buy this for me.
Yeah.
Like don't buy like
It was
for
Lorry's.
example, bird nest. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like sian, no?
But
Oh
they're
my
trying to help
God.
you recover.
Yeah,
You
we
eat, then
sure.
you-
Those not drinking. You're gonna give it to your mom.
Something I always think about is like, if today is my last day, right? Like I know I got 24 hours left, right? What am I gonna do with this time?
What will you do this time?
Always stay at home.
Huh? Right?
Ask
You didn't go
Deanna,
very far,
ask
your
Deanna
part.
to come and watch movie, then that's about it.
Because at the end of the day, if I were to do anything different, right, it's like I would feel like, why didn't I do this more often? But if I just stay at home like I would normally do every day, it's like this is a nice bookend.
You probably go for a run. Be like, I hate life.
You run for 24 hours.
I just keep running like, so tired.
That's how you die.
I just blink there like, I'd rather die, go and die after.
Oh, there's this other question people ask also. Would you rather know how you die or when you die?
When?
Huh?
Because if
Okay, yeah, true. When?
how you die and then they say car accident, you never touch the road again. Yeah.
Yeah lah, there's a right answer to this. Damn it lah.
But there was one that was, imagine you're reading a book, right? And you realize that book is written about your life. And then you reach the line where you are currently reading the book. Do you continue reading?
Yes.
Yeah lah, you know the future already.
Into the
No, but then that means you're stuck. Then that's just your future. If it's gonna sigh, then that's just gonna sigh.
But I
But
feel
at
like
least you know.
No, but wouldn't you, as you're reading a book, realize that it's talking about your entire life?
What if
Yeah.
it just keeps on going and you're reading this book and you're
Yeah.
reading this book
Yeah.
and you're reading this book?
And you're thinking about whether or not I should flip to the
it's
next
just one
page.
line, he finished the book, then you're like,
Oh shit! The book
then
too
you
a bit.
don't.
Yeah.
But
read
you're
back.
so curious, your whole life you keep thinking about that book. You'll one day go back and finish it, and then it picks up.
Wow, scary.
So when you're 89, right, then you're on your hospital bed.
Or book 2 come out next year.
And then had you finished reading the book, you would have won $1 million. But you
Yeah.
didn't.
They
Damn.
tell you about Bitcoin
Wow, we
price,
writing
like,
movie on.
As much as we are talking about how maybe like life imprisonment seems like a better option, right? Like a couple of years ago, I did this like challenge for a video, and I basically spent 24 hours in like isolation. Wow, I tell you, it's
Singaporean try isolation.
something like that, 24 hours.
Wait, it's not solitary, right? It's
Confinement.
Yeah lah, but I mean, there were a lot of people are nitpicking about the terminologies or whatever lah.
okay.
But being alone in a room with absolutely no perception of time, right? And it really f***s with your head, yeah. It really f***s with your head. I thought to myself also, if I knew I was going to come out in 24 hours, and that was like my saving grace. That was what kept me like sane. If I didn't know how long it's going to be, and it's just like indefinite, right? Wow,
but prisons
I'll go
in
crazy a
Singapore
lot
also
faster.
got yard time though.
Yeah lah. But then there's for example solitary confinement, right? It can be like I think months. one, eh? Yeah.
Do you think this could all actually be very, very intentional? Because in Singapore, where there are more equal opportunities, like probably more equal than many other countries in terms of opportunities to climb your social strata, right? Hence, we are saying, no, if you do this, you get the death sentence. Whereas other countries where they understand that poverty could be a 3-generation cycle and that you don't have enough opportunities to get out of it, we kind of understand why you're turned to a life of crime. So, but we're not going to kill you.
Okay.
Yeah, quite possibly.
It could be an entirely intentional thing.
Damn.
That Singapore is
That's quite
kind of
smart.
trying to breed model humans of sorts.
Clean dreamers.
What's the trade-off for that, I think?
Complaint culture. Culture.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take that over crime.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you watch, remember to drop us a sub and hit that notification button. Like, share, tell your mom about it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.